I'm Jackie Miller-Charlton, I'm your host for the series, and I'm excited to be interviewing some exceptionally powerful, inspirational, world-leading women and bring you their stories. Today, I'm excited to have Frida as my guest. Frida, hello and welcome to Iron Ladies.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're very welcome. My pleasure. So, Frida, let's start at the very beginning of your journey. Where were you born and what was your childhood like?
I was born in Stockholm, which is obviously the capital of Sweden. And my mom is from Finland and my dad is from Sweden. And we were growing up in a very nice suburb of Stockholm, but we came from nothing, basically. So we were in a 2-bedroom council estate. And then I remember my mom and dad saving all their money for a very long time. And we moved to our first house by the time I was 6. Oh. And that was such a lovely memory because we have seasons, obviously, in Sweden. So I have good memories from spring, bringing out the bike, teasing my little brother, who is 2 years younger than me. Very happy and, easy life. I lived in the same suburb until I moved from home when I moved to Stockholm.
Beautiful, beautiful. It's nice to hear of a very grounded, loving story about childhood. Wonderful. Growing up, what kind of student would you say you were? And did you have a creative streak, do you think, from a very young age?
I think I always liked doing things. I wasn't necessarily very academic. Like, I think some subjects were just easy to me. One of them I actually use a lot now, which is mathematics. So I didn't have to study some of the things to like it or enjoy it. But the creative part, I would say yes. My mom is a seamstress. And she did, in the beginning, clothes. Then she did furs. Then furs became very out of fashion. So she changed to upholstery and, furniture design. And I learned a lot about fabric. And I always sat in her room trying to either do my own clothes or create a handbag series or something like that. But I was very impatient. I was very impatient and I could go on for hours. And then in the end, she said, I think you should give it a break now because, it will not feel good if you just don't take any break. So I was relentless, I would say. Yeah.
So interesting. But, I think impatience is one of the traits of entrepreneurship. Many successful people that I interview and that I come across in life tell me they're impatient, but they're also very successful. Patience is something that we have to work very hard at.
For me, it doesn't come naturally.
Yes,
but
me
the
too.
drive and the curiosity has, I think, always been there. And it's the same growing older. So I don't think that passed ever. And it's still there very much.
Mathematics, incidentally, is not an easy subject. So if it comes easy to you, then you're clearly gifted. Did you attend university, Frida? And if you did, what was it that you studied?
So when I graduated from college, it was a big recession. It was 1991 and 1990-ish. And all the university spaces were few and far between. And if you didn't have an A star, you couldn't get a place. So I started to work, and I was, again, kind of impatient and curious. So I started in a bank. I quickly learned to move on between the departments. And then 2 years later, I took marketing and economics diploma, which was good because I kind of was a little bit older. I had some work experience. And it was easier for me to go when I was properly motivated, I think. So marketing and economics, and then later here I did MBA in Dubai, actually.
And was there any seeds of that interior designer within you at all back then?
my dad was upset with me that I didn't go to architecture or the technical universities because I was good in maths, but it was a lot of peer pressure back then. I went to marketing and economics because it was a lot of friends who were doing the same subject. But I think very early we had to write a letter for our graduation. So 3 years before I ended, I had to write a letter to myself. And in that one, it became very obvious that I had a creative streak, like a business plan, or I wonder where I will be in the bigger picture later. But it didn't have any design elements or architecture elements back then, I think.
You say you worked in sales and indirect go-to-market in the tech industry for over 20 years. What was that like for you, and did you find it rewarding?
Yes, very much so. So, I mean, I spent most of my time in American tech companies like Cisco, 15 years, then Microsoft, and now last IBM. So it was always corporate technology, software technology, cloud. Cloud obviously is big now. Everybody's digital natives. Nobody's buying a server anymore. You know, we all rent the space. I think, I mean, I loved it. It was very rewarding. I think the things that stick out to me is that as long as you have a manager who supports you and trusts you and give you the framework, for me, autonomy is super important. Like if I don't know within what remit I can act, then I become very slow and unmotivated. But if I have the go-ahead, then I think I was really able to use my creativity. So I'll give an example. I was in Dell. I was responsible for new customer acquisition. And these were all the customers who bought any other brand but, let's say, Dell, where I was in as a young adult. And I had to come up with really creative ways of approaching a new customer who wouldn't necessarily be open-minded to meet. So somehow I took out a lot of creativity in that new customer acquisition, trying to get leads. Marketing came in there for sure. Then in other ways it was rewarding for traveling purposes. I got to see the world. I got to move to Dubai with Cisco. And I have been working with some absolutely amazing people with probably 50 different nationalities. So very rewarding, I would say.
Amazing experiences. I mean, I'm from a sales and marketing background myself. So that challenge you've just described there, it's no easy feat. You know, trying to sell to a customer who doesn't understand your brand, doesn't necessarily want to hear about your brand, and is a loyal customer to something else, to come up with some form of creative plan that gets them to jump ship and move to you. That takes some doing. So
yeah.
Well done you. Well done you.
Thank you.
Of all the companies you work for, which one is your standout favorite and why?
I would have to say Cisco. It was absolutely amazing. I think the CEO of Cisco back then, he was the CEO for more than 30 years. I think from the founding of early, mid-80s to after I left. And he was, every conference, every arena he was in, he talked to the audience like he would talk to you personally. And there was one thing that Cisco pointed out, I think, which was market transitions. Like, if you don't follow what's trending now. So we've all heard about iPhone and how Kodak went out of business because iPhone came and nobody thought you would take photos back then with your phone. You know, it was for phoning and talking, and now nobody talks on their phone, obviously. And they were very much part of digital transformation. And I think I really learned that if you're in technology, you can always learn. So I was already a bit like a lifelong learner, but they really encouraged it. And then because it's technology, it was also fast moving to stay up to speed with technology. And I didn't come from technology, I came from marketing and sales. So being able to constantly educate yourself on the job and being trusted to do it whilst trying. So I was always surprised actually that there was no more women in that field, because it was so, it was only the results that counted, not who you knew or who you had as a boss or what nationality you was. It was amazing.
Well, clearly he sounds like an incredible, inspiring leader too.
Yeah, he was. And he filtered down somehow. Obviously, he was based in San Jose in California, but we were only the sales office in Sweden back then.
Yeah, but the culture was there.
The culture was very much
and clearly
there.
you felt it.
Yeah, and I actually didn't think I would leave. He talked a lot about family and you're part of this family, and he really filtered down to all the leaders. And that's why I moved with Cisco here. So they also made the expat experience a reality for me.
Amazing. So looking back, have you enjoyed your experience within the tech space, and even overcoming the tough parts? Would you have done the same again if you had to start your career all over?
You know, when I had mentors in Cisco, and then later when I was a mentor, and I've been a mentor and been a mentee many times over these companies, one thing that's always been there is obviously that there is too few women in tech. So if I take the beginning of the journey, it was curiosity and sales skills, and being able to build relationships with customers that brought me to technology. But then when I was in it, something happened all the time. So I never had an opportunity to be restless. I'm very, like I said in the beginning, I'm kind of impatient and restless as a person, but because something happens all the time and it's always the adrenaline kick, I didn't really have time to think about the obstacles. I also think when you're young, or I can talk for me, I didn't see it the way I kind of maybe saw it 20 years later.
Sure.
So I had the go and the confidence and the drive, and I just took whatever was in front of me. And I wasn't a mom yet, and I didn't have other kind of responsibilities. So I just worked, basically.
I mean, change obviously is one thing they taught you,
Yeah.
and to embrace change,
Yeah.
and to see change as movement, as fluidity.
Yes, and it's like you have to deal with ambiguity all the time. It's not something that you can, not every time you will have time to prepare. So I think what was very rewarding is that I feel I can go and talk to anyone at any point in time, even if I maybe haven't had so much time to plan, because it's
Because of the experience.
built over, yeah. And I can see that now with universities, that soft skills might be a bit of a gap, because we're all being taught and educated in a very theoretical way, but these things are difficult. And then the later part, for sure there was tough moments, you know, changing manager, changing company, moving here. You know, in Sweden it was very structured. Everybody was on time. If you booked a meeting, everybody came. You didn't have to confirm your meetings. I was very surprised here and learned the hard way sometimes that a meeting wasn't always a meeting. Brand perception was different. Culture, for sure, was something that I had to learn whilst working, you know.
Well, that change clearly helped you to adapt.
Yeah.
So what inspired you then, given your background and given how successful you clearly were, to step out of that comfort zone, take that leap of faith and start your own business?
Yeah, I'll answer one question before that, if I may, because I had a big life change when I was in my late 20s, early 30s. I was a mom for the first time. I was still in Sweden. I had to kind of juggle the career, and my father passed away, unfortunately, very young. And I think it's obviously not something I would wish to happen to anyone, but I think the aftermath of that was I started to realize things in life that I had to take a step and see, where do I want to live? What sort of life do I want to have? And do I want to live in Sweden all the time? And do I want to have more kids? And so 5 years later, I met my now husband, and we had 2 kids together and got married in Sweden, but he's British. And then he also said, let's build a family adventure. And it was something that I always knew I wanted to live somewhere else. And that was actually the background on how we moved here, because I don't think I would have taken the leap of faith going into a full career change now at early 50s if I didn't have done the moving abroad. So it was one of the things that I felt I have to really make something of life, but I stayed in the same career. But then what happened was that I think it happens to a lot of people moving here, and especially being expats. I had then Cisco as my first employer here, then Microsoft, and then IBM. And the older I got and the more experience I had, the more I felt, I know this now. I have the drive, I have the platform, I have the skills, and the interior design and architectural part of me has somehow always been there. And me and my husband, we probably converted some 10 houses into what I would say was then our dream home. And then we ended up selling it much earlier than we thought to do a new renovation. So I started BIOME years ago in my head. And then I actually founded the company some 18 months ago. But then the actual trigger was that preparation somehow coincided with timing, and it gave me the best moment to do it. So I felt I had the recipe. I had done quite a few houses, everything from project management and subcontracting, electricians and plumbers and painters, and then people started to ask me also, who's done your house? And I said, I did it. And because of the learning path, I took this interior design diploma here whilst working in IBM.
So clearly you
And then it was somehow meant to be. IBM did a big reorg. I somehow knew my role would not exist in the format of cybersecurity leader, which I was in the last part of IT. I was in cybersecurity software. And I just thought now is the time to do it. And then we created this last villa as the show villa of BIOME.
So clearly you always had a flair for architecture, for interior design, for spaces, living spaces, etc. So what does home or space mean to you when you're designing for clients?
Great question.
How do you explain that?
So home for me is very much where you and your loved ones are, where you feel you can live beautifully and enjoy your everyday. So I don't think necessarily a house is a home. The home needs these components. And I say that because I think everyone can create a home with the budget at hand. It's not necessarily the budget of the material, or if you choose marble or plastic, it's more you can live beautifully in a home, I would say, and it's with your close ones and you enjoy it. Space, I would go back to my very mathematical brain. And I think this is also a bit how I found my focus. Because of the dimensions and being able to see space before it's there, or creating space where you have an open room, or the opposite. I think of space as a very Scandinavian, pragmatical, operationally functional need. So if you have kids and they do sports, space will mean different to if you have dogs, or if you want to have a crap room, but you want to have a nice showrooms, or how you hang out. Some hang out with a TV, some hang out in a formal living room. So space for me is practical and storage, and being able to live beautifully because it's not cluttered. Yeah.
And it's what you want in that environment to enhance your way of living.
So exactly. So I'm big on lights. You know, Scandinavians are big on light because it's dark half of the year. So when the summer and spring sun comes, you want to make sure that you have the windows in the right position to get as much light as you want. So that, I would say, I think a lot about the space in the surrounding it is.
How would you describe your design philosophy in one sentence?
Grounded and sustainable, and Scandinavian design means Dubai luxury.
Perfect. As a woman who's worked across the cultures of both Europe and the Middle East, what were the most significant differences, and how would you say they've shaped you in your approach to leadership and in your business?
I mean, in Sweden, it was easier, I would say, obviously, because everything is the same language, apart from maybe the contracts and stuff that was a lot in English already with Dell and Cisco. I took a lot of things for granted, I think, being first young and everyone was the same nationality. And you didn't have to ask for permission, or it's very unhierarchical, as an example. I must say, though, I loved moving here because Sweden always felt, like I said earlier, felt a bit small. Like there was more to me, an experience, and showing the kids that the world, you can be a global citizen. So I think I learned to listen more. I'm still a little bit of a crap listener, to be honest. I like to talk a lot, but
it's a women thing.
Yeah, it's not very good for my business, so I have to do it. But I think I have a strong point of view, and I like it to come across. So being a leader and talking on stage, all of these kind of things always came to me. I think I had to take it down a couple of steps and really learn how to listen and get to know, being more curious about people and getting to know their heritage and legacy and where they come from. And I think I had a good advantage having gone through that hard time with my dad and a separation, you know, both from Sweden and the father of my first child, because you have to collaborate. You have to get on. You don't have to like everyone, but you have to create the results. And very often I felt coming here in the beginning was that I had a point of view and I tried to get it across. And it was much easier when I started to ask questions and say, what does success look like for you? How would you define success? When do you think you will be ready? I got upset when that happened. And I think that really made the Swedish leadership of me come through here, because a lot of people who now I've worked with here, I've been here 12 years now, and it's been all countries in Middle East and Africa. So it was Saudi, South Africa, Turkey, Oman, UAE, of course, South Africa, I said, but also some Egypt. It's very different. But I think they all appreciated in the end that I was always fair and authentic.
And prepared to accept their culture for what it is and not try and change or force yours on them.
Exactly. So meeting times were amended. A lot of things were amended during COVID. I actually quite liked COVID because it proved that you can do business based on who you are and what you know, and not that you come to a workplace.
Yeah. Have you ever faced gender bias where you suffered maybe negatively as a result of being a woman?
It was the first question everybody asked when I moved here. And I must say, it wasn't really gender bias. I think it was more culture or nationality bias. I think there are big working groups here, of course. Majority of very, very educated, amazing people are from India or Pakistan, let's say, in technology. Amazing accountants are from India, as an example. Then you have all the other Western European nationalities. I think there was gender bias in groups where you had many of the same nationality, and then the gender wasn't necessarily the unique part. It was being Swedish and having a different point of view.
So it was more of a cultural bias.
Yeah, I would say it was more cultural bias. Then sometimes, of course, I think in certain companies there is a benefit of having been there for a long time.
Sure.
And sometimes it was maybe the new hire situation. But that was in older age. So I think in my younger age in Sweden, there was obviously gender bias, but not in a way that I felt that I hit a glass roof and that it put a hold on my career.
Maybe that's just because you were strong and determined.
Yeah. I didn't take it on board, maybe. I was because of things in my life, I think I was very resilient. And I saw how my mom and dad created, the move from the council estate to the villa from nothing. And I think I was just very bold and just said what I said. If he can do that job, I can do that job.
It's a little bit like our slogan, if she can, I can.
Yeah.
Do you have mentors still? Did you have mentors? Have they helped shape your business approach?
Oh, but young Frida had so many mentors, and I would have never had these 15 years in Cisco without having amazing, strong, most of them women, some men in the beginning, later more men than women. And I think it's kind of where you are, but I think mentors and sponsors is a must, whatever business you're in. Now, I don't have yet any mentor in my new business, but I'm very collaborative by nature, and I really believe in partnership and alliances. I don't think every man or woman for himself is a success. I think partnerships is everything. So I was very curious, I think, as a mentee, and took on board. I had a lot of business coaches, and I think I just practiced what they told me to do. So sometimes walk the talk is hard, isn't it? But I think that's what I learned a lot from them. And
I agree. I think that you can listen, you can absorb, but without actually implementing any of that advice, you're not really going to take any strides forward. The difficulty is always in actioning the advice that you're given. It seems to me, though, that you have, because you've moved forward. And my next question is, how important is community and collaboration in your work? Well, you've answered that.
Yeah, I'll say one more thing about being a mentor. I think when I was, let's say, maybe mid-30s, and I was already some 15 years into technology software sales. I was very keen to go on arenas like, how can we get girls in technology earlier? How can we educate student coaches? You know, in college you get like a mentor to give you advice on what university you should go to. And for girls it starts even earlier. And we realize that very often they are not being showed the full palette of what's possible, because the counselor or the counselor, student counselor, or the advisor, career advisor, doesn't also have the right information on what professions are out there. And it was a very big red theme for me, that you have to go out there and just say that I really like maths, or I really like cloud, or I really like being a scientist or engineer, because they might not necessarily know. So a few times when I hit the barrier, I kind of didn't see it, but I learned from these young women that they faced it all the time. And then they graduated 10, 15 years after me. So I still think it's out there, like you just, trust what you want to do, I guess, and what you're passionate about. And on the collaboration part, if you take now, regardless actually, in corporate, I was a partner leader and I had to go from direct sales to indirect sales. And in the beginning, I couldn't see the benefit. I just saw it's really good. I go there, I meet the customer, I close the deal. But then you realize that there are so many motivated, educated, amazing account managers who are working for a reseller of Cisco or a reseller of Microsoft, and they have their relationships. And if you can benefit from them being your salespeople, then you will sell to 10 customers by being the teacher. So for me, it's a no-brainer when I started BIOME that if you don't go in and have partnerships and alliances from the start, I will always be the bottleneck. So partners for me will just be different things now. It will be real estate agents, it will be contractors, it will be CAD designers, it will be material suppliers, and I think it will be other designers, because we are also not competing. We are going to have to collaborate because we all have different values in the design process.
Absolutely. I mean, realistically, we are in the business ecosystem a cog in a very large wheel.
Yeah.
And to make that wheel turn, we each of us need to keep on passing the baton round until it goes all the way around and it starts again.
Yeah.
We cannot be successful without having forged major collaborations that help us. And those collaborations that are the most successful are those that put the energy and passion and effort into making them better and improving them as the business relationship builds for everybody's benefit.
Yes, and I think this is new here. This is a gap I see actually in the design market here and the contractor, because everyone wants to build up the business a lot, and obviously we all would like to take credit for our work. But what I've seen already with this big show villa we did now is that by working with a strong collaborated team, you give credit to everyone and it boosts the business for everyone part of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And everybody has, we all need our internal self-esteem box, if you call it, ticked, because it's not just about what you earn, it's how valued you feel in the process.
Yeah.
And if you feel valued, then you go on to make a valuable contribution. I think that's really important. Just tell us, what's been the most surprising or unusual design request you've had so far?
I try to have a very pragmatical approach from the experiences. Like, even if I'm not a builder, I somehow know if it's possible or not. But the most difficult ask was when we were asked to put a complete new cleaning facility for a summer house in Sweden in a rock.
Oh, wow.
Because
that is unusual.
The house was not allowed to be moved. It was not allowed to be demolished and rebuilt because it was so close to the beach line. So they have this beach protection area. And then we couldn't modernize it without putting a complete new plumbing and sewage system in. And it was not municipal water, so you couldn't connect to the mains. And we had to find a way to blow up a lot of rock and then try not to pay for getting rid of the rock, because it's not only expensive to have dynamite, but it's also expensive to get rid of the leftover. And rock expands. Don't know if you know that, but expands.
Yes, I do.
So we found a very cool idea. We not only did the excavation in the rock, but we used the big stones to create elevation. And it became a beautiful lawn, which was then drained, nationally drained. And on the other side of the house, we did a natural stone granite wall that looks like it's always been there because it's rustic.
Beautiful.
Stone. And we made a big planter bark box. So, but it was very difficult.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you know, where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah, and this was such a good learning curve.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of things you can get there, but you have to do some research and find a new way forward.
But that's what makes you different.
Yeah.
Do you have a dream project, a space, a building, or perhaps a client that you'd love to design for?
Oh, so many. But because we're here, I will pick one here. A few years back, we found a beautiful emirate called Quain. And it's amazing because the beach line is like you're on holiday. So I would love to take that maybe answer the other question, because I think you have to be Emirati to own a house there. It's like Jumeirah and
I've never heard of it.
Sikim, you know. So it kind of combines both, because I would like to take a local villa and I would love to do it as a beach house in a BIOME grounded estate in Quain on the beach on one of the Emirati villas.
So any Emiratis that might be watching this, you heard it first.
Yeah, it's
This
beautiful.
is your lady.
Amazing place.
What do you do outside of work to keep your creativity fresh and the ideas flowing?
Some of my friends said, what will you do if you retire early and you will have too much time? And now I already have no time, even if I'm, just starting and being self-employed. But I think I always was very sporty. I just love sports. I think in different age, it's good. I did team sport. Then I did running when I didn't have time with small kids. Now I'm very much into the gym. I just try to go a little bit to the gym in some way or shape. Great bunch of 50-year-olds, we're lifting heavy. And then I like all these games like paddle tennis I found a few years ago. Skiing was always there. So I guess, depending on where I am, if I'm in Sweden, I wouldn't go to the gym. I will do something outdoors because the weather supports it. And then I really like to hang out at home and cook.
Nice.
I just like cooking, trying different things, which came now more because of flexible time.
Sure.
I missed cooking, actually. So I'm adding that back.
That sounds great. If we visited your home, Frida, what's the one thing that would stand out to us or that we'd notice?
Yeah, this goes back a little bit, I think, to what creates a home. I always try to bring something that is like personal. So even if it's the latest, some of it has to be like yours. So for me, it's art. I love art, and I always try to think of art. So I think everybody will say, oh, where did you get the paintings, or did you commission the art? And then the light, how the light comes in everywhere, both with lights, in the ceiling, but also the natural light.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think that's a real skill.
Yeah.
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 Where do you see yourself 5 years from now, both professionally and personally?
Oh, this is the million-dollar question, isn't it, for us expats? So we've been here 12 years, and we have this conversation every year. Where is the forever home? But we love UAE, and now it's like home. For the kids, they were so small when we moved here, and now one is graduating from college, and one still has 5 years left. So I hope, BIOME is very well established, Dubai-based, but international coverage.
Why not?
That, I think, would be my real dream. And it will support where the kids want to be. Because I really think we are like global family now.
But you have to live somewhere.
Yeah. So I think we will live between UAE and Sweden. And then hopefully we will have something else in a Southern European country.
Sounds amazing.
But I don't know which one it is. It's the hard one.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
If you could go back and talk to your 16-year-old self, what's the one piece of advice that you would give her?
It's funny because every manager said, don't be so restless. And then I think it was somehow the skill I got from birth and from my dad primarily, that, just believe in yourself and follow your dream. So I would say,
but with the benefit of hindsight, and what you've learned,
I think I could never regret or change anything about the soft skills, because they are from life, right?
Of course.
And some of them are nice things, and some of them are sad things. But it builds resilience. But I would say, don't worry too much about the future. Don't take out things in advance that hasn't happened. I came across this beautiful quote about trying to predict where the leaf will fall. And I think it's my advice. You cannot predict where the leaf will fall. You cannot predict the future, but you can take small steps every day, and you can learn something every day.
And did you try to predict the future when you were younger?
I kind of had this vision that I would be something, and it was somehow not a worry. It was a little bit of a North Star. But I never did like career planning, or a lot of the things were, a career ladder for me is not always going up, it's like steps up and down and horizontal. And I think I really know that I'm a lifelong learner, and I think we can always learn something new. Like I'm learning now every day in this new job.
I think some would call that a vision, and some would say that you manifested your vision.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to young women who are watching this podcast and who have a creative flair, but they're unsure of what to do about it and how to go about seeking advice to help them?
So I would definitely reach out to inspirational women that you find on Instagram or YouTube or LinkedIn, or pick up the phone and ask if they could give you advice or be your mentor. I think all of us would like to help. I had a lot of women reaching out, and I think that was the biggest thing. People are not mind readers, but we will all like to help. And as I said earlier, I would have not managed without mentors and sponsors. I think it's more and more important to ask men, because what I found and learned in being a woman in tech is that in the end it was like women, I wouldn't say preaching, but women trying to convince women, and we were already convinced. But I think there are a lot of benefit for male leaders having creative women in their management teams, regardless of business, because what we found out was that there was no succession order. You know, you got a lot of women in, regardless of industry, but then we weren't able to keep them because there was no path. So young women, I would say, just follow your dream, get a mentor, and try to learn as much as you can on the job, you know. And there is always learning opportunities in the job, shadowing opportunities. I think just ask.
And for corporations, try and...
For corporations, I would say the male one, because we did it in Capital Club here, we did it in Women on Boards, we did it in Women in Tech. In the end, it's the male hiring managers who need to hire a diverse team to get the diversity. Otherwise, we will keep hiring more of the same, which limits corporations here, if I'm straight, because you don't have a big enough pool to hire from.
And, of course, diversity creates different skill sets,
and
different ideas,
yes.
different creative skills, different flair, because you have the female and the male, and when you collaborate and both come together, there can be real magic occurs.
Yeah, and I think that what corporations did wrong when they started to put like a quote. You know, we need to have a certain number of women. Nobody wants to join because you're a certain gender. No, everybody wants to join because you contribute to the bigger picture, and you can be creative and you can have autonomy. So, but ask. I missed so many jobs in the early age because I thought my manager would see what I did. But you have to tell them what, I want to do this now. I can do this now. Let me have a go.
I think it's a natural... Actually, that's a really good point, Frida. I think it's actually much more natural for a man or a male to go to their line manager and say, hey, excuse me, I've done this, I'd like to try that, than women. And women can be really good at what they do, but not so confident in shouting about their achievements.
Yeah, I mean, we tend to think, especially maybe when you're younger, you might not have the confidence and you feel it's bragging.
Yes.
But it's communication, and
sure,
the people around you are not mind readers. You just have to tell them.
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable, but that's what you have to do.
Absolutely. How can girls build confidence then in male-dominated industries, in your view, like architecture or design?
Same thing. Actually, I will take it as my homework after this podcast. I will find now a male mentor in construction that believes in me, and we can work together. It will be good for collaboration. I think it's the same thing. You need to find a sponsor and a male mentor that can both, you know, believe in you, educate you, and there is a little bit of learning opportunity.
I think that's wonderful. Please do let us know how you get on.
Yeah, it will be very interesting here.
Be very, very interesting. Very interesting indeed, but I'm sure you're going to get on just fine. What legacy would you love to leave? Not just in your career, but in how you make others feel, in what you represented, in how you feel about the world, and what you would like the world to know about Frida?
Oh, that's so hard. I would like people to think that I was authentic, and that what you see with me is what you get in business. I think I'm very authentic, I'm straightforward, And I would like that to remain in either the projects that I've been part of, or they mean that to the end customer, that it really feels like this beautiful home, and this was a BIOME home. And then I would like for my kids to see that it's okay to try and learn, whether you call it fail or learn. You improve every time. You improve every time, and eventually you will follow your passion and your dream. I think it's okay. You are unique. Everybody is unique, and that's why things should come through.
So basically, you like to be remembered by being authentic, giving back, accepting responsibility and running with it.
Yeah, I think that's why, let's say, I have this sustainable part in my business, that whatever works in the house that we transform, we should keep it. I don't believe in buying new all the time. I believe in reusing what you can. If you have a fireplace, you should go and take wood from your garden rather than buy it in a bag, let's say. So I think authentic and sustainable is what I would like to do, and not like use as much as you can from the nature that you have at hand. Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me, that answer, given the fact that you're Swedish and Scandinavian background, because, you know, people who understand Scandinavian culture understand there's a huge resonance with sustainability. And I think from my perspective, I've traveled all over the world, and obviously I've been to many Scandinavian countries too. And that's the thing I take away from Scandinavia, the people and their belief in sustainability, their belief in natural product and being one with nature. I think that's really wonderful. And I think that's a gift that you've given the world.
And then the last one is, which kind of comes in, is that I will never stop being curious. I have too much to do, I feel. This is what goes with the learning, but I like being curious, and I think I'm a curious person. I never want to lose my energy for curiosity.
It's a really great point to make. You heard it here. Never stop being curious.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Finally, we have a closing question on the Iron Ladies podcast, Frida, and ours is simply this. What does being an Iron Lady mean to you?
Being authentic to your vision, and follow through with integrity and resilience. Because I think if you talk the talk, but you don't walk the walk, it will be very obvious very early. And I think regardless if I'm an Iron Lady in corporate technology or if I'm an Iron Lady in BIOME, or the kids, actually, a mom, same, that you have to be authentic to your vision and what you want to achieve, but then you actually have to do it. It's very easy, I think, to just say what you're going to do, but not do it.
Yeah.
And I am not big for complaining.
Absolutely. So. Perfect. Well, that was a great answer. And thank you very much, Frida. It's been an absolute joy having you on the show today. And I wish you wonderful things ahead. And I'm sure that in 5 years, you will make that vision of yours a reality. So thanks once again.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you to everyone who's been listening today.